Welcome, Formless Seekers. I am glad that you're here with me today. Take a breath. Let the noise of the day settle. Today, we are walking right up to the edge of a cliff and looking over. We are talking about the paradox of infinity. It is a concept that scares the logical mind but comforts the spirit. We usually think of infinity as forever, or a number that never ends, or consciousness. But if you have been walking this path with me, you know it is more than math. It is the feeling you get when you look at the night sky and feel small, yet somehow you also feel like you are the sky. That is the paradox. How can we be finite little humans living in a body that ages and changes while holding a consciousness that feels like it has no walls? With that being said, I'd like you to think back. Do you remember when we spoke about sacred geometry? This is where the paradox becomes visible. Think about the circle. It has no beginning and no end. It is the perfect container. In sacred geometry, we see patterns like the flower of life repeating endlessly. And to the naked eye, it looks like a drawing on a page, right? It has edges, it stops, but the pattern implies that it could go on forever. It suggests that the structure of the universe is built on connections that never actually break. They just fold and collapse into each other. We are living inside that very geometry. We try to measure our lives in straight lines. We think in terms of birth to death, Monday to Friday, or start to finish. But our spirit moves in circles. It moves in spirals. It is formless. When we try to force our infinite nature into a linear box, we feel anxiety. We feel trapped. That is the friction or resistance of the very paradox. Now, I want to address something heavy. We have to talk about why we are so afraid of this infinity. We have been told stories about the devil. We grow up fearing this external evil entity, something that wants to hurt us or harm us in some way. But let us look at this with clear eyes. The devil is not a monster under the bed. The devil is the ego. It is what Carl Jung called the shadow. Why does the ego act like a devil, you may wonder? Because the ego is obsessed with separation. The ego needs to be me, and you need to be you. It needs walls. It needs definitions and protection. It needs to be special and separate to survive. Infinity is the opposite of separation. Infinity is oneness, Tawheed, consciousness. It connects everything. So the ego is terrified of infinity because guess what? Infinity means the very death of the ego. When you merge with the infinite, the small, fearful self dissolves. So the ego creates fear, guilt, shame, hate, jealousy, envy, ignorance, illusion, delusion, and attachment. It creates a devil to keep you scared, to keep you small, and to keep you in a limited box. The only evil is the illusion that we are separate from the whole. The voice telling you that you are not enough or that you are better than everyone else. That is not a demon. That is just your shadow trying to survive the light of infinity. This brings us back to consciousness. If the ego is the fear of losing yourself, consciousness is the truth that you never can be lost. The watcher inside you doesn't have a shape. The watcher doesn't have an age, doesn't have a form, and that presence inside you is the glimpse of infinity. The paradox is that this infinite watcher is currently anchored to a physical vessel. That is you. We spoke about Theravada Buddhism before, and the idea of impermanence. The body is impermanent, it is constantly shifting, but the awareness that feels constant, it is constant. Suffering often comes when we confuse the two. We want our finite situations to be infinite, and we treat our infinite potential as if it is limited. So, my friends, do not be afraid of your own vastness, of your own expansiveness, of your own curiosity, and do not fear the devil. Do not fear your ego. Recognize it for what it is. It is just the shadow of your own ego, scared of the light and consciousness. Give that shadow a hug, acknowledge it, and then step past it into the infinite nature that is you. You are a drop in the ocean, yes, but you are also the ocean in a drop. Walk in peace, stay open, and as always, stay formless. This is your Formless Guide, signing off.